Yo, what's good? So I just caught SportsCenter on ESPN, and the entire panel was absolutely losing their minds about multiple massive and interconnected stories involving the Golden State Warriors that have fans simultaneously celebrating an important blowout victory while also buzzing with genuine excitement about potential roster additions that could significantly bolster their championship aspiration. There's legitimate reporting emerging that the Warriors are showing serious interest in potentially acquiring Sacramento Kings sharpshooter Kevin Huerter in a trade that would add desperately needed three-point shooting and scoring depth to Golden State's rotation. But before diving deep into that blockbuster trade speculation, the SportsCenter crew had to break down the Warriors' dominant 31-point victory over the Indiana Pacers and provide the latest critical update on Stephen Curry's mysterious illness that's kept him frustratingly sidelined. The Golden State Warriors are emphatically back in the win column in a genuinely big, dominant way, according to the panel, defeating the Indiana Pacers by an absolutely overwhelming 31-point margin. But is that victory actually as impressive as the final score would suggest? The analysts have to acknowledge some important context. The Pacers were playing a lot of G League caliber players and roster fill-ins during that contest due to injuries, so the competition level was significantly diminished and watered down. And the Warriors were still missing their franchise cornerstone Stephen Curry for this game as well, which makes the offensive struggles even more concerning despite the final margin. Hey, what's up everyone? Before we jump into this massive Warriors news, I just want to ask you for a quick favor that would mean the world to me. If you could just take 1 second right now and hit that like button, it would be incredibly important to me and helps this channel grow so much. I know it seems like a small thing, but those likes genuinely make a huge difference in getting this content out to more Warriors fans who need to stay updated on everything happening with this team. So seriously, just tap that like button real quick. It literally takes 1 second and it helps me out more than you know. Curry has now missed the last 3 consecutive games, dealing with what's being described as a mystery illness of sorts that the organization hasn't fully disclosed comprehensive details about. The SportsCenter crew is going to break down the absolute latest update on Curry's condition and expected return timeline, because that's what has Warriors fans most concerned and anxiously waiting for news. Andrew Wiggins stepped up and had a legitimately solid game in Curry's absence. Moses Moody also had a good performance when given more opportunity and expanded minutes in the rotation. Quinton Post even played really well as he was inserted into the starting lineup once again, which the panel is going to examine in much greater detail later in this breakdown, because there's been significant rotation decisions and starting lineup changes happening. But let's get directly to this Stephen Curry health update first, because the analysts know that's what everyone is most interested in and desperately wants to hear about. Curry has now missed the last 3 consecutive games, during which the Warriors have gone just 1-2, with their only victory coming against that severely undermanned Pacers squad. This mystery illness remains somewhat unclear in its specific. It seems like it might be a severe cold or flu-like symptoms, but the genuinely concerning part, according to the SportsCenter breakdown, is that after Steph missed that first game against the Sacramento Kings, he reportedly told head coach Steve Kerr that his symptoms had actually worsened rather than improved, and the illness had lingered significantly longer than initially expected or hoped. So Curry has been taking 4 to 5 full days completely off from basketball activities to rest and recover properly. And the excellent news is that it looks like he'll finally be returning to the Warriors lineup very soon. The panel emphasized that Steph Curry is definitively set to return to action, and thank the basketball gods, because even though the Warriors won by 31 points in that game over Indiana, they looked absolutely atrocious and disjointed offensively for extended stretches of the contest. This Golden State team genuinely looks terrible and dysfunctional offensively without Curry's gravity, playmaking ability, and elite shooting spacing the floor. The Warriors have now lost their last 8 games total that Steph did not participate in dating back to previous seasons, so this trend is genuinely alarming and concerning for the organization's championship hopes. They finally got that blowout win over the Pacers without him breaking that losing streak, but things were looking pretty rough for long stretches. If you go all the way back to that Minnesota playoff series when Steph suffered his hamstring injury, Golden State didn't win another single game the rest of that series without their superstar leading them. And so far this current season, they had lost every single game without Steph until this Pacers victory broke the streak. According to detailed reporting from respected NBA insider Anthony Slater, Curry came down with this illness immediately following the Warriors' recent road trip to Indianapolis and Milwaukee. Curry actually tried to play through the sickness in a Tuesday night home win over the Phoenix Suns, but he told the coaching staff and medical team afterward that his energy tank was completely on empty in the second half, and he had nothing left to give physically. Curry stayed home resting during the Warriors' disappointing road losses at Sacramento on Wednesday and Denver on Friday to try recovering. After taking 4 full days of rest and recovery, Curry was initially deemed questionable to play against the Pacers, but Warriors coach Steve Kerr said before tip-off that the team's medical staff opted to take an abundantly cautious approach and ruled Curry out for 1 additional game to ensure he's fully healthy. The SportsCenter crew noted they're genuinely not entirely sure it ended up being the correct decision to hold Curry out, because the Warriors took care of business and won convincingly anyway, dominating that fourth quarter by 21 points. But the offense looked genuinely ugly and stagnant for most of the game before that final period explosion. Golden State had only 8 assists at halftime, which is shockingly and alarmingly low for their ball movement system and philosophy. This is a team that typically averages 28 assists per game, which reflects their beautiful offensive flow. Well, through the first half against Indiana, they were on pace for maybe only 16 total assists for the entire game, which is far below their standard. The Warriors ended up pulling away and shooting significantly better in that dominant fourth quarter, but they were an absolutely abysmal 8 for 34 from three-point range through the first 36 minutes of action before things finally clicked. So clearly, Golden State desperately needs Steph on the court, not only for the three-point shooting prowess and floor spacing that his mere presence provides, but just for the overall offensive connectivity, ball movement, and flow that he brings to the entire system. Al Horford knows this reality and publicly acknowledged it after the game. He said, "It changes completely when Steph's not out there on the floor with us. It's a privilege, luxury, whatever terminology you want to use, but it's genuinely that massive of a difference when he's not in the lineup creating for everyone. I know it's the NBA and we have to find ways to manufacture offense, but we honestly can't wait for him to get back out there. Hopefully, it's on Tuesday against Oklahoma City." So, well, Al Horford's hopes and prayers have been completely fulfilled according to the latest reporting. It looks like Steph will be ready to go and cleared to play against the Oklahoma City Thunder on Tuesday. And it's genuinely unfortunate and concerning how much this Warriors team is still so heavily dependent and reliant upon Curry when you examine their upcoming brutal schedule stretch. The panel looked at the next 6 or 7 game stretch for Golden State, and it's absolutely murderous. They have 2 straight games on the road at Oklahoma City against the defending NBA champions, then 2 straight games down in San Antonio against Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs, and then they play the Orlando Magic and Miami Heat as well, before facing New Orleans. That Pelicans game should hopefully be a victory, but these are legitimately massive big-time games against some of the Western Conference's absolute giant and championship contenders. 4 straight games against 2 teams that the SportsCenter crew genuinely thinks can win the Western Conference this season in OKC and San Antonio. It's unfortunate and problematic that this team really cannot function offensively at an acceptable level without Steph orchestrating everything, but it's fantastic news knowing he'll be back and healthy for this challenging gauntlet ahead. But now, let's transition to the Kevin Huerter trade speculation, because this could genuinely provide Golden State with the shooting depth they desperately need. Huerter's situation in Sacramento has deteriorated significantly and dramatically. After posting an excellent first season with the Kings where he looked like a perfect fit, his performance declined substantially in the 2024-25 campaign, both in three-point shooting efficiency and overall contribution to winning. A serious shoulder injury that required surgical intervention ended Huerter's season prematurely, which contributed significantly to his devaluation around the league. The Kings actively sought to reformulate and improve their roster after disappointing results and an early elimination in the play-in tournament. The trade that moved Huerter was part of a much larger three-team deal involving Sacramento, Chicago, and San Antonio that ultimately brought Zach LaVine to the Kings. Although Huerter's four-year, $65 million contract initially seemed like reasonable value when signed, his declining performance, especially during that 2024-25 season, made the contract feel increasingly burdensome to Sacramento's front office. For the Golden State Warriors, Kevin Huerter represents exactly the type of player they desperately need, according to the Sports Center analysis. Huerter provides elite catch-and-shoot three-point ability that would fit absolutely perfectly into Steve Kerr's motion-heavy offensive system. The spacing he provides would be invaluable playing alongside Curry, and his ability to move without the ball would mesh seamlessly with Golden State's philosophy. If Huerter can return to full health from that shoulder surgery, the panel thinks he could absolutely thrive in the Warriors' system and provide that crucial bench-scoring punch they've been missing. There's also major rotation news. Quinton Post has apparently been named the permanent starting center moving forward. Steve Kerr wants more consistency rather than constantly juggling between Post and Brandon Podziemski. Post had 14 points and 8 rebounds against Indiana, and the Sports Center crew thinks this decision makes sense given his size and shooting ability. So that was the full breakdown of Steph Curry's return, the Kevin Huerter trade speculation, and the Quinton Post starting lineup news.